It's crystal clear that Canadians feel they're worse off now than they have been in the last decade. Surprise, surprise. Coincidentally, that's the same period the Liberals have been in power. Welcome back to Canadian Political Clips. StatsCan recently updated its poverty statistics for 2022. Yes, you've heard that right. It's always 2 years behind, just like the Liberal Party's promises. Let's dive in. Are your personal finances better, worse, or the same compared to a year ago? We're hitting new lows. And the trend is brutal. Only 11% of Canadians say they're better off today than a year ago. That's 1 out of every 10 Canadians, folks. Meanwhile, a whopping 50% say they're worse off. This is a killer stat for any government, especially one that's been as successful as Trudeau's. Remember the Nixon-Kennedy debates? JFK famously asked, "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" The answer now, like then, is a resounding no. Canadians are clearly worse off. And it's no wonder. The Liberals have been steering this ship straight into an iceberg. So StatsCan finally updated their numbers. You've been feeling like you're working hard but still falling behind financially. Well, you're not wrong. StatsCan's latest household income readings show Canadians have less money to spend as prices and interest rates soar. Let's break it down. Since the COVID pandemic, inflation has skyrocketed. Energy prices have gone bananas, insurance costs have hit the roof, and housing costs. Don't get me started on that. All of this is chipping away at budgets. And who could have seen this coming? Oh, right, everyone but the Liberals. The Bank of Canada rates went from almost nothing to 4.25%. It's chewing away your household income, making it harder for those who didn't have much to begin with. No wonder everyone feels poorer, because they are. So let's talk about poverty. During Harper's era, the poverty rate was dropping. Then came Trudeau, spending like a drunk teenager with a stolen credit card. For a moment during COVID, thanks to CERB payments, it looked like poverty was decreasing. But as soon as those payments stopped, poverty rates shot back up. And yet, Chrystia Freeland continues to brag about lifting Canadians out of poverty. Take a look.
Speaker, Canadians can see through these conservatives, and they know that the only thing these conservatives know how to do is cut, 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 and the people who suffer the most are the most vulnerable. If they want to push Canadians into poverty, we won't let them. Since we have formed government, 2.3 million Canadians are out of poverty. Poverty in Canada was at 14.5% when the Conservatives left office. Today, it's down to 7.4%. Since we formed government, 2.3 million Canadians have been lifted out of poverty. The poverty rate in Canada has been cut in.
Oh, really? If by lifting people out of poverty you mean giving them a temporary handout and then yanking it away. Now, let's add some spice to these stats. Interest rates shot up to 5%. Who could have predicted that? Oh, right, not Trudeau. Remember his infamous quote,
"Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn."
"Interest rates are at historic lows." Well, everyone bought houses, took out loans, and now we're in a financial nightmare. It's like the 1920s all over again, but with more avocado toast and fewer flapper dresses. Speaking of Trudeau's brilliant economic plan, let's talk about the 9.9% poverty rate in 2022. With Canada's population at almost 39 million, that means about 3.9 million Canadians are living in poverty. Freeland should be saying, "We've put 1.5 million people back into poverty." But that wouldn't fit their narrative, would it? And what about the tent cities and homelessness? Those are new features in Trudeau's Canada. By 2023 and 2024, they've become as common as Tim Hortons. The real question is, what's the poverty rate now? We'll have to wait until next year to find out, but it's not looking good. Good news, though, after 10 years of this disastrous Liberal government, we have less than 2 months to see if Trudeau will even last the summer. Poll numbers haven't budged. The Conservatives are still 20 points up. So hang in there, folks. The end of this nightmare might just be in sight.